I got new birds for the aviary, and they're unbelievably tiny. I had never seen them before, just discovered them online after some of you suggested them. When the box arrived, I was shocked at how small it was. And once I opened it, wow, these miniature-sized birds are absolutely fascinating, a perfect fit for the aviary. I honestly thought they would be at least larger, not small enough to fit inside my Budgy cage. My plan was to move them straight into the aviary. But since they're so tiny, it's better to keep them in the cage for a while as quarantine before introducing them to the budgies. I even considered placing them with the finches, but with winter coming, it's safer and warmer for them to stay with the budgies instead. And I can't even describe how much I liked them at first sight. They looked almost unreal, like little living toys, almost as if someone shrunk down quails into miniature size. These are Chinese quails, and they're absolutely tiny, only about 15 centimeters long, the same size as a budgie. But unlike budgies, they spend most of their time on the bottom of the aviary, walking around like little groundkeepers, and they don't really fly long distances. Such unique, fascinating birds. While researching how to care for bottom-dwelling quails, I found out they love wooden shavings on the floor and sand baths. I got plenty of wooden shavings first, and I'll start by placing them in the finch aviary. It should be fun for them and also look nice in the aviary. There's some dust in the wooden shavings, which could be a problem if placed indoors. But since this is an outdoor aviary, it's not an issue at all. My only concern is making sure the shavings are safe for the birds, and they are. Another problem with wooden shavings can be if the soil gets wet. Soaked by rain, it can develop mold and bacteria. But that's not an issue in my aviary since it's covered. This setup is perfect for the birds to scavenge, play, and it might even be ideal for collecting nesting materials later in the nest boxes. We'll see how that goes. It's time for the little gang of quails to finally leave my room and move out into the wild. Well, not exactly the wild, but the aviary. A much better place for them to explore, scratch around, and just be quails. But of course, the black cat is already waiting outside. She's always there. Don't worry. There's no way she can harm anyone anymore. I've double-checked everything. Still, every time I see her, I can't help but wonder, am I missing something? She always gives me chills. And right away, another gang of budgies arrived to inspect the new visitors. You know how budgies are, always extremely curious. I really wonder how they'll react to the quails. Honestly, it's not that I wanted them in the budgie aviary, but the budgie's aviary has heating. They seem so gentle and fluffy that it feels safer here. Still, I'm not sure if one day they'll move to the finch aviary, because that would actually be a perfect fit for them. And right away they acted like they'd been here forever, completely at home. But I noticed something already. As I went back to check on the quails, I noticed they're getting bullied by the budgies. There's just no way they can stay with the budgies for now. I grabbed a big mesh net, the same one I used to clean the pool from leaves. And quickly caught all 4 quails. They're so tiny. And here's the quail's new home, with the finches. That means a whole new set of work I need to get done before winter. I'll also need to take care of the finches, but it's not too bad. The main challenge will be making sure there's enough heated space for everyone. The finches are super curious about their new neighbors. Or maybe I should say roommates. I really hope there won't be any problems between them. Judging by these little fluff balls huddling together, it's already feeling cold for them. They wanted to spend the night in their usual spot. Nothing clever, just fluffed together in the open. I had to catch them and place them inside, but that's the only way they'll learn where their new sleeping space is. Definitely not as clever as the finches. The only thing left for me to do now is close the door and make sure the quails can go outside in the morning using the automatic door. Simple but crucial for their routine. I saw them mating, but their nesting area is very strange. I'm still not sure what exactly I should provide them. By the book, I gave them everything they're supposed to need, but instead, they seem to be nesting right in the soil. And that seems to be an egg. I just noticed it. So they really are nesting down in the soil after all. And they even got their dirt bath today. I never really had time to set up a proper sand bath inside the aviary, but they found their own little spot. All birds love to take a bath. It keeps their feathers clean and healthy, and you can just see how happy they get while doing it. Later in the evening, I found another egg from the quails. And with all this commotion, I got really stressed by their sudden aggression. For a moment, I was very worried. I'm not a quail expert, so I quickly googled this behavior. And what I found was quite a surprise. Male quails sometimes act very aggressively during mating. And to us it can look like forced behavior or even rape. But this happens because of a few natural biological and behavioral reasons. Male button quails have very strong mating instincts, especially in small spaces or during breeding season. Their testosterone spikes make them more eager and persistent. They don't have a gentle courtship like larger birds, so their behavior can seem rough or even violent to human eyes. Hey, at least now I know which one is the female and which one is the male. I realized I need to provide extra hiding spaces for the females, especially now, before the colder days arrive. When it gets really cold, they won't go outside at all, so it's important they feel safe and have places to hide and rest inside. It was quite a huge package, much bigger than I expected. But it's actually a 30 chicken incubator, so I guess it will work for quails too. I was afraid the small incubator I had before would be too tiny for such small quail eggs. I'm still not 100% sure if the eggs are fertile or if I found them too late, but I'm sure about one egg. The one that was still warm when I picked it up. If that one is fertile, there's a good chance it will hatch, fingers crossed. And my Pingo loves being around and helping. He's such a good boy. As for the incubator, it's simple to use. It has a temperature controller and a small space for water to keep the humidity high, which is important for eggs. For quail eggs, the temperature should be set to 37.5 degrees Celsius. The great thing about quails is that when they hatch, I only need to provide food and warmth. They start eating on their own right away. And the best part, I don't need to hand feed them. As you know, hand feeding budgies or even zebra finches is not an easy task. They really depend on their mother or on you to feed them. So, best of luck to me and to the eggs. The quails are still laying eggs, but most of the time I find them too late and they get too cold to safely put into the incubator. However, I learned something interesting. Temperatures between 7 degrees Celsius and 15 degrees Celsius are still a safe zone, and the eggs can stay hatchable. Even more fascinating, quail eggs can remain fine for up to 7 days outside. After about 14 days, the hatch rate drops a lot. So now I know that if I find any eggs within that time window, there's still a chance they can hatch. What is dangerous for the embryo is when the egg warms up and then cools down again. That temperature change can cause problems. That's why I need to check the whole aviary carefully and collect the eggs on time. I still hope there will be more eggs soon. And my quails. I'm not even sure what they're picking at every day in the aviary, but they can't wait to go outside and look for something in the dirt. They're always busy, always searching for tiny things only they seem to notice. But now I also put a few seeds on the ground, just to keep them busy, even though their main food is inside. It gives them something to do and keeps them active. And look how cute they are, all fluffy, just like little cartoon characters. It's not even that cold outside, around 10 degrees Celsius. The southern winds are back, so it actually feels very nice to be outside today. Still find quail eggs in the aviary and place them into the incubator. I'm still hoping, checking the incubator every day. And I have to be honest, I still feel guilty about the last chick. It's a difficult feeling, and it stays with me. Am I the only one who really enjoys watching the finches on video? And the quails? I'll say it again. They're a real treat for my eyes. I really enjoy watching them roaming around. Now I can't even imagine having the aviary without him. Thank you to the Budgy Nation member who recommended this. It truly changed everything. A bottom quail egg hatched, and now there's a huge job ahead of me. This tiny life depends on me, and that thought is both overwhelming and beautiful at the same time. This time I'm prepared, or at least almost. Earlier, I made a 3D printed water dish designed so the chick can't get into danger. Last time was something I could never have imagined, and now the dish is only about 3 millimeters deep. I think this setup will finally be safe enough. It gives me a great sense of responsibility, even greater this time because the previous attempt was difficult. But now I'm calmer, no panicking. I'll simply do my best, step by step, and give this little one the safest start I can. A heating lamp is a must because baby quails need a warm side in their enclosure. The temperature is from 34 to 36 degrees Celsius. Luckily, my room heater is always on anyway, since I also have a baby budgie and my vampire crab paludariums that all depend on steady warmth. So keeping this tiny enclosure warm and comfortable is much easier now, and the temperature stays stable without big changes. And I will keep checking the temperature. It's 7 o'clock in the evening, and until midnight I need to make sure everything stays perfect and safe for this tiny baby. I want the setup to be warm, stable, and calm so the chick can rest without any problems. I will monitor the heat every little while, just to be sure nothing changes. After midnight I really need to sleep too, but I want to go to bed knowing the baby is comfortable and protected for the whole night. And I already made my first mistake. I should have kept him in the incubator for an hour or two longer so he could dry completely. For the next 10 hours it's very important that he stays under the heater so his little body can stay warm and finish drying. When he chirps loudly, it means he is cold or uncomfortable. So every time I hear that sharp little chirp, I know he needs more warmth or a small adjustment to feel safe. Snow is already covering my garden. Overnight we expect at least 20 centimeters of snow. Maybe even more, because tomorrow's forecast says it will keep snowing. The whole place is turning white, and it makes everything outside look cold and quiet. A big contrast to this tiny warm box where the baby is fighting to stay strong. But he already seems healthy, strong, and active, and that's an amazing sign. The temperature inside his little comfy room is perfect, around 34 degrees Celsius. But I still don't have any food for him, and that is now my biggest priority. He needs proper food soon, but it's still snowing. I'm already worried about how I will manage to get it. When I arrived, I noticed that my heater was too high. I know this is just a temporary space for them, but I'm afraid they might get cold if I move them into a bigger area. In the meantime, I searched on Google Maps to see where I could find starter food for chicks. There is none available in the city, so I had to look farther, outside of town, hoping that at least one store has it in stock. I finally reached the perfect temperature and he fell asleep nicely. Morning arrived and I rushed to check if he was alright. So he keeps peeping. He's not cold, he has water, which means he needs food as soon as possible. I made a few calls to stores outside of town just to be sure who has starter food available. Outside there is a real snowstorm, and because I live on a hill, it could be a challenge to get back home. I might even have to wait for the snowplow to clear my street before I can return. And the water needs to be refilled twice a day, because it evaporates quickly. So far the little dish I'm using is safe for this tiny quail. It's shallow enough that he can't get stuck or wet, but still good for him to drink whenever he needs it. It's 8 in the morning. The stores are finally open and it's Saturday. Tomorrow nothing will be working. So no matter what the weather looks like, I have to go. I don't have a choice. But at least my garden looks magical. This is the kind of winter I like, not the rainy dark one with no leaves, when everything looks ugly and depressing. This snow makes everything bright and calm, like a real winter scene from a movie. It's peaceful, except for the fact that it's very cold. I need to feed Tom and then get on the road. I can't leave before making sure he's okay. So far, the roads look clean and it seems like I'll be able to return without any problems. No worries for now. And luckily this place is only about a 15-minute drive outside the city, so it shouldn't be too hard to reach, even with the snow. But the snow is already piling up on the streets. It's falling faster now and the roads are starting to turn white again. I arrived safely. Now I just need to hop inside, grab the food and rush back home. No long waiting, no looking around, just in and out. The snow is getting heavier and every minute counts. And now the heavy snow has officially started. The road is barely safe, and everyone is driving slowly and carefully. In case of an emergency, we all have winter gear in our cars, even chains for the tires, but that's really for the worst case scenario. Just earlier it was clean, but now it's completely covered, and the hill leading to my house looks unreachable. Even the sensors on my car are going crazy from the snow. Luckily, I'm not far from home. I grabbed the starter food for the babies and started walking home. I'll come back for my car in a few hours, once the snow calms down and the road is safer. Right now, the most important thing is to get this food home as fast as I can. The food is here and I'm holding it tight. I have to walk carefully. The ground is slippery and if I fall, I'll have to go all the way back to the car again. I've arrived, finally. What a tiny adventure this was. But I made it home with the food. Now the real relief starts, because I can finally take care of the little one the way he needs. My Pingo is just doing his thing. Cute, curious, and full of energy. And only a few seconds later, the little baby quail started eating his very first food. Another tiny achievement. Successful. Hey, Pingo just noticed there is something fluffy moving inside. He's super curious. He keeps tilting his head and watching every little movement. And I just noticed him drinking water. That's amazing. Everything is in order and I feel proud. After all this stress, snow and running around, seeing him drink on his own feels like a big relief. The tiny peeping was there, clear and sharp, but it wasn't coming from him. And I was... Wait, is that really possible? Another one hatched right now. Already almost completely dry. Just a quick reminder, this is my first time having quails and also my first time hatching their eggs. I didn't even label any of the eggs. I was just placing them in the incubator and hoping for a miracle. Honestly, I was maybe 60% sure there would even be chicks, and now, having 2 babies hatch like this feels unreal. For me, this is a real little miracle, something I can't even fully describe. I'm so happy, and at the same time I'm hoping everything will go well and that they will grow big, healthy, and happy. Am I the only one who can't fully comprehend this? They just hatched, and they are so tiny. Their parents are about the size of a budgy, yet these little chicks can already live on their own. All they need is heat, food, and water. No hand feeding, no special help. It feels unbelievable. And hey, Pingo is completely obsessed with their food. It's so funny to watch. This starter food is high in protein, around 20%, and he acts like it's the best treat in the world. He keeps trying to sneak a taste every time I turn around. And I think he loves it even more than millet. If he ever starts flying, I'm sure he'll fly straight into the quail's little home just to steal this food. And I think this baby just wants to be friends with Pingo. I'm sure they will be, once they grow up a little. My garden is home to more than 50 birds in 2 aviaries. Budgies, cockatiels, finches, and even little button quails. He has his own sleeping house inside the garden, and I'll show you that later. This is my aviary, built in the spring of 2025, and it now houses finches and button quails. And this is the first real winter test for the aviary. So far it's passing. Heavy snow, freezing winds, and cold nights are all pushing it to the limit, yet it's still holding strong. Look what I found in the aviary. Again. Now I need to label it for the first time. If the other eggs don't hatch after this date, it probably means they didn't make it. But now, with 2 chicks already here, everything feels possible. Even the cold days and full winter snow mode didn't stop them from mating and the female from laying eggs. Pingo is still obsessed with the chicken starter food. Sorry little guy, you can't have any. The babies are doing just fine, growing and moving around, but this tiny space is getting a bit small for them. And the water dish gets dirty pretty quickly, so I have to change it often to keep everything clean and safe for these tiny chicks. Oh, here we go. Another chick hatched. And what's even more amazing is that this one is yellow, exactly what Mila asked me the other day when she said, "Why aren't there any yellow chicks? Now we have one." I had to start making a temporary new home for the babies, because there might be more eggs hatching soon. When I say temporary, I mean just until the real one arrives. I ordered a beautiful new quail house that should come in a few days. I wanted to build my own, but honestly, this old hamster house will do just fine for now. With a bit of improvising, it will be a perfect little starter home for the tiny quails. And the procedure is the same. I place paper towels on the floor for easy cleaning and to prevent splay legs. Heating is a must for small chicks, their lives depend on it. By placing a thermometer inside, I can monitor the exact temperature at all times. It also helps me notice if the heater fails, because once it actually stopped working, and I caught it just in time. Water dishes must be super shallow, like only 2 millimeters deep. I learned this the hard way. My very first chick drowned in just 5 millimeters of water. It was almost unbelievable, even though I was warned, but the warning should have been more clear. The water level must be almost like tiny drops, not a dish at all, and now I understand why. In the first few hours after hatching, their legs are not strong. They need time to dry and build strength. Even a little bit too much water can be dangerous. That's why keeping the water shallow is so important for these tiny babies. I was a little afraid because the box is so open, but after watching more YouTube videos and learning how other people keep their baby quails, I realized this setup is actually perfect. And with the new home I ordered online, it will be even better. Honestly, it will be a luxury home for such tiny birds. But even this old hamster house works great. When I think about it, I could even connect the two together one day and make a big indoor aviary for the quails. I'm so excited. I just hope everything goes well. Please God, keep my little quails safe and healthy. And more eggs for the incubator. I can't believe how fast everything is happening. In spring, I'm going to decorate the walls. I still have leftover plasterboards from building my garage. The perfect fit for this aviary. It will look so much nicer. And of course, I will paint them, not leave them white. I'm not sure yet which color would match best. As I returned to check out my babies, this happened. And nothing serious. Probably you thought the same as I did, that something was wrong. But actually, the baby chicks were just heat bathing under the ceramic heater. Completely normal. They need a lot of warmth in their first hours. Luckily, this heater gives a more even and ideal temperature than their previous little plastic box. It's also very important that if they ever feel too hot, they can move to a cooler part of their new home or get some water. This setup is safe, warm, and perfect for them right now. And I just found this tiny house on Thingiverse and printed it. A perfect little shelter for these tiny babies if they ever feel cold or need a warmer spot. I'll probably print a bigger one too, because they will grow in about 3 weeks. But honestly, as small as they are, I don't think much will change. For now, this little house is just the right size for them. My heart stopped for a split second. There are so many moments where they just lay on the ground like they're dead. Even the older ones do it, and this is not funny anymore. They are super cute to watch eating their starter food. It's fascinating. And also a warning for anyone new to this. A wooden box like this is beyond amazing. I wish I had made it earlier instead of using the plastic little box. First of all, it's much warmer. Second, it's more spacious. Honestly, this setup feels perfect for tiny chicks. They look happy, comfortable, and safe. So, I don't think the temperature needs to be measured perfectly. In the last brooder, everything was, by the book, ideal. But in this one, the middle gets much warmer. And funny enough, they actually love lying right there and soaking up the heat. I really hope I catch that on camera soon. They look like tiny babies sunbathing on a beach. And if it does get too hot, even a one-day-old chick just moves to the side. You can see it right away. They get more active, drink a bit, eat a bit. They know how to handle it. So basically, they are born with instincts. Pre-installed. Unlike budgies, button quails prefer staying on the ground. Being lifted feels unnatural to them, so they panic jump, even the tiny chicks and the older ones too. Once, it happened right in front of me. They can launch straight up like tiny rockets when they get scared, sometimes over 1 meter high. When I was putting a quail back into the enclosure, he panicked and jumped straight up to the roof of the garden aviary. I was stunned. It all happened in a split second, and I couldn't believe how high such a tiny bird could go. Next morning, this happened. And I had to leave him in the incubator to dry off. It's a very important step, and even life-threatening if done wrong. Even though my room is around 23 degrees Celsius, they need above 34 degrees Celsius to dry properly. I felt blessed watching him hatch. I've seen baby budgies hatch before, but every time feels special in its own way. They hatch already covered in tiny feathers. Baby button quails come out looking like little striped bumblebees. And the cutest thing, only minutes after hatching, they can walk, run, and explore like tiny athletes. They can be running around at full speed, and then, boop, they fall asleep in 1 second, right where they stand. It's adorable and funny every single time. And yeah, this one is a real little bumblebee. The name suits him perfectly. It's day 8 since the first baby quail hatched, and they really look like tiny miniature quails now. Even though they're still so small, you can clearly see the shape, the movements, and the behavior of real quails. A tiny quail in every way. It's day 9, and they do pretty much the same routine every day. Heat bathing, eating, drinking water, running in circles, exploring a little bit, and then starting all over again. Tiny but full of life. Tiny but fast. Tiny but already acting like real quails. The older quail is already starting to jump, so in a few days I'll probably need to put some mesh on top for safety. They grow unbelievably fast. They aren't tiny anymore, just a little bit bigger every day. It still fascinates me that I got baby button quails from eggs I simply collected and placed in the incubator. I didn't even try hard and suddenly I had chicks. And if you ask me, I want a whole flock of them. Hopefully in spring, when most eggs will be fertile, I will try again and hatch even more. And the maximum number of button quails I plan to keep does not exist. And finally, I can place a proper water dish without being afraid of a chick drowning. That was my nightmare. Now I don't need to check every hour if the water evaporated. Still, this dish needs to be cleaned twice a day because they poop everywhere. By the end of the day, I got an escapee, and it wasn't even the oldest one. He didn't get stuck anywhere. So that means they can get out not only during the night, but also during the day. So from now on, I need to keep this covered all the time. These tiny quails are faster and smarter than I expected. It's day 18 for the oldest quail, and it's funny how fast time passed. They're all only around 4 days apart, but today I really noticed how big they got. Just look at those long legs. They're much more active now and not as dependent on the heater as before. My room stays around 23 degrees Celsius, a bit warmer at times, so they're always comfortable. They all have nice feathers already, and I even found tiny feathers around their little home. That means they're molting or just losing the baby fluff. Their growth stages aren't as dramatic or shocking as with budgies, but still, they grow super fast. Every day they look a little different. But there is always something happening indoors too. These are the previous eggs. But guess what? Today, completely unexpected, I got a new baby button quail. I mean, I never ever hatched an egg just by finding it in the garden or on the bottom of the aviary. It's fascinating. This tiny chick came from an egg that was in the outside part of the aviary, where it was cold. That means the egg had very little chance, or no chance at all, to hatch. But somehow it did. And here it is, a tiny new baby quail. I know it looks silly, like a tiny human standing next to a dinosaur. The size difference is crazy. I will set up a new warm spot just for the tiny quail, so it can stay safe and comfortable. Right now I have 11 button quails. But guess what happened in the next 2 days? Yes, you guessed it, even more quails hatched. At this point, I have no idea about their exact hatching timing anymore, but the most important thing is this: I'm getting button quails. But this one had difficulties. Something probably went wrong during the rotation cycle in the incubator. I waited almost a full day and nothing happened. I started to panic. I couldn't just leave it there. I was hoping nature would do its job and that the tiny chick would break free from the shell on its own. But time was passing, and I was afraid the chick could dehydrate, or something even worse could happen. The incubator rotation turns the eggs every few hours, and if the chick was already weak, that could make things even more dangerous. So, I had to step in. I was extremely careful. This was not something I wanted to do, but I felt I had no other choice. Slowly, very slowly, I helped the chick open the shell. And then, movement, life. It was exhausting, stressful, and emotional. But the chick made it. A small piece of eggshell is stuck to the tiny feathers. This is definitely a premature hatch, but I believe that when it dries it will fall off on its own. This little miracle chick has enough warmth above its head to stay strong, grow, and survive. With time it will get stronger and bigger every day. The next day he already lost the eggshell, and so far he is doing great. Now I am getting a daily pack of hatched quails, but luckily it arrived right on time. I ordered this about 20 days ago. And finally the new clutch of button quails has a new home. Spacious, safe, and warm. I also got a much better incubator. It proved that spending more money on quality is better than testing with a very cheap incubator. Maybe that's why I had trouble maintaining the small incubator. A larger incubator is much better, especially for controlling humidity, because water in the small one evaporates in a day, even with the temperature set at 37.7 degrees Celsius. This new house is technically for hamsters, but I don't think it's safe for them. The wood is very light, and I've had hamsters. They can chew wood harder than this. They would probably escape in 5 days. Even the ventilation openings are too large, as small hamsters can squeeze through almost anything. But for quails, I think it's perfect. What's even better is that I wanted to make my own version of this house, but I decided to order one for testing. That way, I don't need to drill holes or cut wooden boards. My version would definitely be much safer for hamsters though. It's very spacious and looks beautiful. Perfect for button quails, but not for a large flock, guinea pigs or small rabbits. I do have another concern. It's made of very light, soft wood. Droppings or water on the floor could damage it. I'll need to find some kind of plastic cover and place paper sheets inside. And one important thing, I finally got a button quail chick water feeder. Much safer, and this time the water won't evaporate so quickly. For now, it's an emergency to transfer all the button quail chicks to their new home, as it's already late and time to sleep. A heater is a must. They all need warmth for the next 20 days, along with food and water. That's it. Now I have a perfect home for my tiny quail chicks. And this morning, another delivery arrived. Everything was timed perfectly because my first clutch of quails has already grown and it was an emergency to move them to a safer space. I still don't think they are ready for the aviary yet, because the temperature there is lower, even though the heater keeps it from freezing. They are still small, and I think they will be ready for the garden aviary at around 55 days old. This is a home version for keeping button quails. I'm not really sure what other animals could live here, because it feels almost perfect only for quails. For rabbits or guinea pigs, you would need wood shavings, and that would be a disaster inside the house. Even now, I'm wondering how everything will look after a few days of keeping them here. But it's winter, so I need patience until spring, when they can all move outside. Like all birds, they poop a lot, maybe even more than budgies. At first, I didn't give this bottom tray any credit. I thought the floor would be a mess, so I planned to use paper because it's easier to clean. But spoiler alert, it's actually much better than paper bedding in this cage. That's a huge plus for me. It's much easier to clean. I almost didn't add the plastic tray underneath because I thought it would be a waste of time. But honestly, with how messy these birds are, this design changed everything. Button quails are still messy birds and not easy to keep in a room, but without this smart net bottom and tray, it would be a complete nightmare. The mess would be in front of the cage and all over my room. I really like the idea of having transparent plexiglass on the cage, so you can clearly see the birds inside. I think that's one of the main reasons I ordered it, along with the size. It's simple, and I like it. I also noticed there's an option to buy a modular aviary cage built on the same principle. You can build it block by block and create a huge aviary for budgies. I wish this option existed a long time ago. Now I don't need it because I already have a garden aviary for my budgies. Still, some of you might find it useful. Check it out and let me know in the comments if you think it's worth having. Personally, I enjoy building my own aviary more, because you can design it exactly how you want, especially the size and number of perches. The quail was clearly in shock. Hey, I just realized how big they are and how fast they've grown. I'm proud. These chicks would never have hatched without the incubator, and I can't even describe how I'm feeling right now. But yes, I'm proud of myself. And I completely forgot to place the trays to collect the droppings. As I said, you don't need paper bedding, because the net floor allows most of the droppings to fall straight into these trays. It's raining chicks. The incubator is working so well, it feels like it could hatch almost any egg. Incredible. Everything is going so well, thank God. I also got a new flashlight for egg candling. Quail eggs are harder to check because their shells are much thicker than budgy eggs, so it's difficult to see development inside. In most cases I can tell which eggs are completely unfertile, but with the others it's hard to know. Some might be spoiled and some might be close to hatching. Older eggs didn't have clear markings at all. What's interesting is that timing with quails isn't always the same. It's probably because of the outside temperature when I was collecting the eggs. And when I think about it, by spring I could have hundreds of button quails. I don't mind, but it's amazing to even think about it. Today's challenge is to feed all the birds and animals I have before my flight to Spain in the evening. This trip is just for my wife and me. It's her New Year's gift, a concert she's wanted to go to since she was 14. But before all that, my animals will be alone in the house for 48 hours. That's a real challenge, especially because my incubator is hatching chicks almost daily now. By my calculations, one chick will hatch tomorrow while I'm in Spain, hundreds of kilometers away. I also received a sweater for Pingo, but I can't put it on yet. I need to be close to him first to monitor his behavior and see if it even fits. Well, this is now a problem that I'll need to fix when I return. I can't tolerate this mess in my room. Luckily, I have another room next to mine, so that can be theirs. They are molting too, so there are feathers everywhere. As I said, paper bedding is useless now. This cage design is doing an amazing job. The droppings fall underneath, making it much easier to clean. I'm giving them a finch or quail seed mix, along with starter food. I'm not completely sure when the right time is to stop the starter food, because for now they are eating both. And since I'll be away for more than 24 hours, I need to make sure there is enough food for all my birds. The finch flock is now over 20 birds. And the budgies are also more than 20. They eat a lot every day, so for 2 days they'll need even more food. And finally I got sand for the quails. I'll also place a sand bath for my garden quails. They love sand baths so much that they even try to bathe in their starter food dish. Hey, I just made a small hub for the quails. Chicks, almost adults, and the incubator, all in one place. I didn't plan this, it happened naturally. I'm still quite amazed because I never expected to have this many quails. I thought maybe 4 at most, not a real flock. I just hope everything will be alright. I'm working hard to maintain everything. Cleaning has to be done every day. Water gets dirty very quickly. Sometimes it needs to be changed twice a day. The same goes for food. They eat like little vacuum cleaners, and sometimes I have to refill it more than twice a day. They are ready now. I'll also have a camera set up because a baby quail is expected to hatch tomorrow. The key to my house will be with my neighbor, who will help save the chick and place it with the others while I'm away.